going to be doing the cocktail band, and you're going to start with getting our stencil in place, and then we take it from there. Just before we go on, I would like to say that a very big thank you for watching this video. If you've not yet subscribed to our channel, I would plead that you subscribe now and hit on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video is uploaded. Of course, as usual, we do not only upload millinery videos, we do jewelry making, dressmaking, bag making, and very soon we're going to be adding soap making videos as well. So let's get on with the things we need. You need a paper and a pencil and a ruler for your stencil. I've gone ahead to do my stencil and I've cut it out on a cardboard just for keeps, and I think it's advisable to do this so that you can always revert to it and pick on your stencil whenever you need to do this design again. So you're going to need your cinnamon, millinery wire, the needle and a thread, fisherman's cord. I like working with this a lot because it tends to hide all my stitches, but a few people have complained that they can't see the stitches using this. If you cannot see it, of course you can always go for cotton thread, which will be easier for you to work with. Some feathers and some flowers and an Alice band. Okay, you need an Alice band as well. So let's get on with it. First, let's get our stencil done. So I'm going to be drawing just a straight line in the center of my A4 sheet, and I'm drawing a 10 inches line. So then on this line, I'm going to try to find the center of the line, and that will be at 5 inches mark. So I'll just put a mark there, and at the mark I've just done, I'm going to be drawing 1.5 inches mark away from the point onto the left and onto the right. And I think it will be easier to do with a tape measure just so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be drawing, this is from here to here is 1 inch, and then this is 1.5, but I'm doing 1.25, so that will be here. So I'm going to put 1.25 on the center line and where the marking is, and then I'll make a mark. So I know this is where my line should end. Okay, 1.25 going this way and another 1.25 coming this way. Okay, so I can move it like that and put my 1.25 marking here as well. Now I'm going to connect the dots. Okay, now when we've done this, you have to make another line at the top here and another line at the bottom here, and the length of the line you're making at the top, that is 1 inch. So as usual, we're going to have half an inch going on the left and then another half an inch going on the right. I'm doing it for the top and then the bottom as well. Okay, so now that I've done my top lines, bottom line and center line, what I'm going to do is to just join the ends. So what I'm going to do next is to give myself about half an inch marking from this center. Just put half an inch marking at the top and half an inch marking at the bottom. Now what we're going to do next is to run off all the sharp ends. So I'm going to run off all these sharp ends with curved lines. As usual, you can just do one side, flip it over, and then do the next. Okay, so you have equal drawings on both sides. So what I can do at this point is to cut on this line all the way around, okay, up to this point, and then I'll fold it onto this line like that. So I'll have this shape coming on this end, and then I'll cut off this end as well, and then we'll have this as our cocktail band stencil. When you've done that, you're going to be cutting it onto your cinnamon, and you're going to cut 2 of them. Okay, so for each piece you're going to work with, you need 2 layers. All right, and this is what you're going to do. So you get your cinnamon, and then as usual you fold it onto a bias. So you're going to pinch it from one end like that and drop it onto the other end, and then you have it looking like a triangle shape, kind of. Okay, and I think we've explained before the reason why you have to do this, just so that you can block the holes of your cinnamon a little bit and make it look firmer. Okay, so you have your holes looking like that, going a diagonal to each other. And when you've done that, you then trace your stencil onto it. I will work with the corners towards the center because you're going to need this to do the ribbon, to do the edging. Okay, so you're going to cut two. So when you cut your first shape like this, you have 2 layers because you folded it into 2 and you have 2 layers. So you cut your first shape and then you cut your second shape, and when you're done, you cut your ribbon in a strip 2 inches wide. Okay, 2 inches wide ribbon. You're going to cut 2 of them out. So that is what I have here. I cut my shape and I have 2 layers for each cocktail band. We're going to put them together, and then I just put a pin to hold it in place. I have 1 and 2. Okay, and I have my ribbon made from cinnamon for the edging of the cocktail band, and I have 2 of them. Now let's go on to the ribbon and how to do it. So when you've cut your 2 inches strip cinnamon ribbon, you put it into 2 equal halves, and I'm going to show you in a minute what I mean by that. So let's say this is your 2 inches wide cinnamon. Cut it as long as you can to be able to go round this whole band. If you want to know the measurement that goes round my cocktail band, you are looking at 25 inches with a 2 inches overlap. So at least you give yourself some room for working at the edges to secure it properly. So you cut it at 25 inches long, 2 inches wide. Okay, and then you put it into 2 equal halves. When you've done that, you are going to fold 1 half towards the center like this. Okay, so you fold it towards the center. Don't let it meet the center line exactly, just towards the center, and then this other half also towards the center, and then you put both of them together. And then the next step is to try and curve it, because you're going to be putting around the edge of a curved shape. So what you do is, this is the folded bit that is facing towards me now, and then the rounded bit is facing away from me. So you're going to just pull and bend, pull and bend, pull and bend, pull and bend, like that, you see, till the end. And this is what I did here. So this allows me to actually put this around the edge when it's time to do that. So you should have all of these that prepared, ready for our stitching. And the next thing to do from here is to cut our millinery wire, and we're going to be cutting the millinery wire at 25 inches long for each of them. So I'm going to cut 2 of that, 2 25 inches millinery wire, and then we come back to the next step. Okay, so we are back again with millinery wire. I have 2 of them at 25 inches, like I said. What we are going to do is to try and shape it around the edge of our cocktail band. So just try and shape it, and you have to be very gentle with this, as you want it to just take the shape of a band. Okay, so you're going to have to go gently around it, and then you work your way down with it. You can see I'm trying to shape it around the cocktail band. Okay, and you can see that the overlap was quite too much, because I only needed to end around here so that this bit and this bit can overlap. But what I'm going to do is not to cut my memory wire down now. I'm going to start stitching, and as I get there, we'll figure it out and cut the shape. So you should be placing it quite close to the tip here, as the ribbon should be able to cover it enough. Okay, so I have my needle and thread, and I have it on a double with a knot, as you can see here. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to place my millinery wire very close to the edge of my shape. Okay, and I'm going to start in out as usual, just to be able to secure my first stitch with the knot I have done. Okay, so in here, then I'll put my needle back in just to lock in my first thread. So I'm going to be stitching at intervals okay, like a slip stitch kind of. So I'm going to go in because I'm coming from the back. Okay, we try to make our stitches at the back because this happens to be the right side, so our stitch length at that end should be shorter than the length inside. So here can be longer. Go on to the next kind of stitching over the memory wire, right? So you stretch it at a length, not too wide, because we want to actually keep it stitched to that. Okay, and then from the back your stitch length is shorter, and then you pull it, and then when you come in it is longer. Okay, so I'm going to carry on like that, and when I'm nearly towards the part where we have to overlap, I'll bring it back. This bit can be a bit challenging. Don't get frustrated when you're doing it, because the thread, as you can see with mine, keeps getting locked up at the edges or in the edges of your cinnamon, because those edges are quite sharp. So you have that happening a number of times, but just be gentle with it and gradually you get it done. Okay, so this is what I have done here. So when you get here, you're going to overlap your millinery wire, as you can see, and then you put a stitch around it. I hope that you can see it properly, and then you end it there. You don't cut your thread off, you still leave it in your piece, and then you bring your cinnamon ribbon around like that. So you're going to start stitching the cinnamon ribbon to do the edging, just like I did for this. Okay, so as always, your short will be on the right side, which is for me here, and then my longer stitches inside. So as you can see, my longer stitches are coming here because this happens to be the inner bit, and then the outer bit is going to be here. Okay, so my longer stitches are here. Okay, then I'll just pick on it slightly from the back here, just a little bit. I hope you can see. And then I turn my needle, my ribbon, so you make sure that you're catching on the reverse as well. Okay, so your needle has to pick on the back too, so you can see. You don't see the stitches here at all, but my longer stitches are in here. So I'm going to carry on off camera, and then I'll come back when I'm done with it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. I've finished stitching both of them. You're going to put the two of them together like that and stagger the lengths at the bottom. Okay, so just slightly, one will be longer than the other. All right, and then you stitch the two of them together like this. So just the way we stitch all the time, the right side has shorter stitches and then the wrong side has longer stitches, as we stitch both of them together like that again. All right, so this is where we are at. I've joined these two together. As you can see, I've joined the two together, and don't worry about this bit because you're still working on it to finally get to the end of it. So the next thing is to add your Alice band. Okay, and preferably choose something that is closer in shade to the main cocktail band, or something that will match it. Okay, for the Alice band. So you can see here that I'm trying to stitch the Alice band to the fascinator, the cocktail band. You can't see any of my stitches here, so as usual the shorter stitches come on the outer bit and then the longer stitches stay on the inside. So I'm going to just go take a little, just a short length, okay, to send my needle to the inner bit here, and then as you can see, I'm just going to stretch my needle and then pick on some Alice band cloth on the side here. Okay, and then push my needle through to the back. So that is how I'm stitching the Alice band to the cocktail band. So I've done it on this side. I'm going to do it to the end on one side and then go back the other way on this side as well to attach it to it. Okay, so this is where we are with the embellishment. Okay, I've just selected the things I want to do. I'm going to talk to you about what I did with this kind of things to get it look the way it is. So you can cut an irregular shape of your cinnamon. So this is where your cinnamon pieces comes in handy, okay? And I think that it works better when it's actually on a bias, when you cut it on a bias. So there's a stretch in the cut, and then you just fray. You can just twist the edges, just ruffle the edges up a little bit so that there is a stretch, and then you can fray a few of them. Let's fray some edges. Try to ruffle the edges a little bit, you know. Then you can twist it into whatever you want it to be, okay? So basically that is how to ruffle these edges. So we have them set. What I have done here is to just stick in a rose flower. Okay, so I have cut it off, a bunch of them, and then I've pushed it into the hole of the band. It's going to be like this. So I'm going to go ahead and then try and stitch this down. Stitch it down to this bit here, and then we take it from there, okay? So I did a rose bud arrangement with some petals and some French cinnamon on the sides. I chucked one big one here, and I chucked another one here, and one on this side here with some petals over there. And then here I put in a tulip, if you can see it, and some feathers, more of the petals, and then some French cinnamon as well. So this is a cocktail band, as you can see. We've come to the end of today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe if you have not done that already. Until we meet again in our next video, have a lovely